Great job, don't worry. Make sure we put that front right, sorry.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Mount Shasta race recap. I'm pretty sure you'll love this video. I have such great footage. You'll see this place is probably one of the most beautiful places in the world. So everything started at 7 a.m. in downtown Montague. Montague is a very pretty city, very close to Mount Shasta. It has a very Western feel to it. There's a lot of old building and historic area. So the race was scheduled to start at 8 a.m. So at 7:50, everyone was on the start line, super excited for the start. It was actually a very cold day. At the start of the race, it was -3, and during the night, it had been snowing. So everyone was super well dressed. But at the start line, 5 minutes before the start, that's where I did my first big mistake of the day. So I was very confident in being used to the cold. So I kind of removed all the layers. I only had 2 jerseys and some arm warmer. And when the gun went off, it didn't take too long before I realized that I was for sure underdressed. So this kind of forced me to rethink my strategy. I was getting very cold very fast in the peloton. So we were maybe 2K into the race and I was shivering like crazy. And I knew that the first gravel road was 5K in on a right turn. So I didn't waste any time on that right turn. I put my first attack of the day. I did one of my best 1 minute ever. So I did 1 minute well over 600 watts. And from then on, it was actually just a group of 7 guys in front. And I was very happy because Stetna was not in that group, and I was with Brendan Wirtz, and I know that Brendan is a super strong rider that has crazy watts because he's very strong. He's also on the heavier side of being a cyclist. So we were 8 guys in front, and I guess me and Brendan were not satisfied with that, so we put the hammer down in one of the climb and continue putting the pressure on that top of that climb. And from then on, it was just the 2 of us in front. And honestly, I was confident with that move because I know that both of us can sustain a super strong pace for very long. I mean, we both have FTP over 400. So for me, it was just a no-brainer to put all my cards there with Brennan. So we started rolling together and take very short pull. So at first we were taking a 30-second pull. So I was taking 30 seconds, Brennan was taking 30 seconds. We were very disciplined at keeping that time very equal, so nobody was playing games. We were working really well together because we knew at the back those guys were for sure working together. So we had a couple of very strong guys at the back, and they were a group of about 10 to 15. So they were working very well together, but me and Brendan, I would say, were working super well together. So we didn't have any time gap, so we just keep the pressure on. I mean, for that first 2 hours, the average watts was over 350 watts. So we were just keeping the gas on, still enjoying the ride, still enjoying the view. I mean, this area, especially with the snow, it's one of the most beautiful places I went in my life. You see Mount Shasta. Mount Shasta is that type of volcano that you cannot just get your eyes off. It's so incredibly beautiful. It feels so big, so powerful. So yeah, we were kind of also enjoying the ride, keeping it very disciplined. Like I said, the later we went into the ride, we kind of decided to take longer relay. So we went from 30 seconds to 1 minute, then 1 minute to 2 minutes. Maybe 1 hour and 15 in, we kind of entered the first really technical sector of the race. So it was a Jeep track. This Jeep track was the only one that was scary because of the snow, but to our surprise, it was still very dry. It didn't have the time to melt, so it was still like freezing, so it was still pretty hard. So I kind of decided to put a little bit of pressure on Brendan, but this race is 160 kilometers, so I still wanted him to be with me after that sector. So I put some pressure, but my goal was not to drop him. My goal was just to make him work a little extra. At the end of that sector, I maybe had, I don't know, 15 seconds or 10 seconds on Brendan, but he easily came back on me. And then from that time on, we continue some relay. We didn't have any time gaps, so we were kind of not stressed about being cut, but we couldn't let off the feet on the gas. So we continue taking some very good relay, working very good together. And at one point, just before the first big climb of the day, I would say, but it was the only climb of the day really. So one sector was a very long dragger. It was like 8 kilometers at 3%, so really nothing crazy. But just before that climb, the lead moto gave us a split, and we had 3 minutes on the chasing group. And actually the chasing group was not 11 guys anymore, it was just 4 guys. So from that point on, we kind of realized that the win would be between me and him. So on that climb, started putting some pressure on, but it was a crazy headwind, so it pretty much didn't do anything. And I think I did a really bad error there. I kind of burned myself up trying to put some pressure on Brendan, and I didn't realize that Brendan was actually recovering in my wheels because the wind was that strong. So on that top of that climb, you had the feed zone, and I decided not to stop because I had 2 full bottle, 2 1 liter bottles, so I had 1 bottle still full. I don't know if Brendan took it wrong or something, but I don't think so actually. But Brendan decided not to stop because he didn't want to let me go also. And after that feed zone, it was one man for each other, so we were not working together anymore. I was actually very confident in my form, so I was the one keeping the pace on. So Brendan was actually not taking any relay, and I felt like I was kind of the favorite, especially if we arrive in a sprint. So Brendan did the right way. When you're not the favorite, you don't have the responsibility to keep the pace going. So I kind of had the responsibility to keep it going so the other guys back wouldn't come back. So Brendan played his card fantastically, and at one point, just over the last technical descent of the day, he put in a very strong attack. And to his benefit again, he had pre-ride that descent, and I didn't, so that's my fault. I was there 4 days in advance. I should have for sure knew that descent by heart. And on that descent, Brendan was able to get maybe a 10-second gap, and from that point on, we kind of TT our way to the finish. So I was just behind Brendan and he was in front of me. Our last TT to the finish was a good 30K, and it was clear that he had the better legs on that day. He was actually able to, I don't remember exactly the gap, but he was able to take a very strong gap on me. So I think he finished a good 1 or 2 minutes before me. So Brendan was first crossing the line, I was second. It was perfectly played by Brendan. I was super impressed by his last effort until the finish. I think I was more burned off than I realized I was. This was the first gravel race of the season, and I've been training a lot of trainer ride and a lot of fat biking, and I think I was missing that sustained type of power for especially 3 to 4 hours. I didn't realize how much that first 3 hours of riding with Brendan hurt my legs. So actually in that last TT section, I was kind of stuck at 160 BPM. I couldn't go harder. So after the race, people were coming in, big party like at all the gravel race. There was a live band, so that made it fun for everybody. And we had the podium, thank the race organizer for such an amazing race. I would just go to this area just to visit. It's one of the most beautiful area that I saw in my life. I'll for sure be back next year. So that's it for the Shasta Gravel Hugger race recap. I hope you like it. The Sealant race recap will be available very soon, my first mountain bike race in 6 years. Yeah, that's it. If you like the video, please give me a like, please subscribe, or please comment. It will really help the channel grow, and I'm really grateful to you for doing that for me. And other than that, take care of yourself by making the most optimal choice in every moment, and do the same. Take care of the ones you love.